And we found that the pigs that they received glutamate or aspartate or the combination, they showed the similar effect as the antibiotic group. So what we can see different is that the pigs that received the amino acids, they show the modulation of the immune responses and also the metabolism that is changed. Like it has been changed a lot, like during the experiment, but not a lot for the antibiotics. So the antibiotics itself, they have the function to kill the bacteria, to help resolve the complications, resolve the diarrhea, right? But glutamate and aspartate, they don't have that capacity to kill the bacteria, but they indirectly help to improve the overall health of the piglets, especially the gut health, to help boost the gut immunity, to help fight off the bacteria.
Welcome to the Swine Health Blackbelt Podcast, the latest swine health research digested for you. My name is Dr. Clayton Johnson, and I'm the host of the podcast. Joining me in our podcast studios this week is Dr. Jane Wongchanla. Dr. Jane is a PhD candidate in the Animal Biologic Graduate Group at the University of California, Davis Department of Animal Science. Jane, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show. You've done some interesting research looking at a couple of different supplementation options that I bet our audience is not very familiar with. You've looked at glutamate and aspartate and how they impact weaned pig performance. So I think it's probably appropriate to just start by educating our audience, Jane, with what are those molecules or products? What are they? And ultimately, why would they be important for the weaned pig?
Hello. Thank you so much for having me today. So let me introduce myself. So I'm Jane, and I did my undergrad in Thailand as a veterinarian medicine, and I'm now a PhD candidate at Department of Animal Science, UC Davis. And yes, I'm studying L-glutamate and L-aspartate. So L-glutamate and L-aspartate are basically non-essential amino acid, as everybody perceive that both of them are just ordinary amino acid. And actually, both of them functions as the building block for the proteins, and they're also the substrate for several nitrogen compounds, but they have more roles than just being the building blocks, because both of them are also functional amino acid that can also play the important role in the metabolism, especially in the intestinal cells, which they can also help to provide the energy source for the enterocytes or intestinal cells, and they can also boost the gut immunity as well.
Is that why it's so important in the weaned pig to have those amino acids? Is it because the intestine is developing so much and the pig is transitioning to regular feed that it has to grow the villi and all those parts of its intestine, and it needs that energy as part of that process?
Yes, exactly. So let's talk about weaning first. Since we already know that weaning is the most stressful period of the pig's life, that during this time, there's so many things going on in their gut. And weaning can also disturb and also damage the gut, especially the villi, that we will see the villi atrophy and the crypt depth that is very wide because they need to produce a lot of the new cells to compensate with the villi, right? So during this time that the gut is so vulnerable, glutamate and aspartate that they can serve as the energy source for the intestinal cells, they can help to maintain the gut functions and also the intestinal integrity during that time that the intestine is very, very vulnerable during that time. And more than that, since both of them can also provide the antioxidant capacity as well, so they can help the intestine to fight off the bacteria and the stress as well.
I was going to ask you, Jane, I know your research was primarily in healthy pigs and how it can help the healthy wean pig. But to your point, weaning is a big stress time. And the viral diseases we deal with in pigs, a lot of those attack the intestine, wall, and they destroy the villi. And do you think that it would be reasonable to assume that these two non-essential amino acids are actually very important in a sick pig, say like a pig that has a rotavirus infection or a PED infection, Delta coronavirus, where we know those villi are compromised and the pig has to regrow them? Is that also another point where maybe these molecules would make sense?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that these two are very important during that time for sure, because for the physiological aspect, the intestine they used the glutamine, and aspartate as their main energy source for the intestine. They don't really use the glucose as their energy because they need to preserve the glucose for the body of the piglets or even like human, right? So during that time that the villi is injured, these amino acids can provide the energy and also help the gut to work normally and properly during that infectious time. Yeah, for sure.
I typically think of protein and amino acids coming from the soybean contribution to the diets in pigs. Is the glutamate and the aspartate, is that where we're getting them from? Is from the soy? Or for your trial, did you actually just supplement those specific two amino acids? And is that something I can actually add to the pig diet without adding more soybean meal to the diet?
So glutamate and aspartate are already abundant in the feed ingredients. So we can find it everywhere, even like in the corn, in soybean meal, in anything you can find glutamate and aspartate. But for my study, we supplemented more into the basal diet that we already have them already. So in the basal diet, they could have around like 2 to 3% of the glutamate already and around like 1 to 2% of aspartate. And then because during the weaning time that the feed intake is super low and it drops drastically. So during the gap, during that time that they have the gap, so we supplement the glutamate or aspartate into the feed to help to fill the gap of that time. So yeah, we did the supplement of the powder into the basal diet that already have glutamate.
Your herd software spits out 50 metrics. Guilt asks 3 questions. Which 10 actually matter? Who owns each one? And what happens this week to fix the red ones? Because every human being procrastinates. Good deadlines fix that. Guilt gives your farm a weekly pulse and a quarterly pulse, so the whole crew's energy pulls one direction. 3 pilot farms this quarter, 2 spots left, 1,000 sows or 2 sites. GetGuilt.com.
Very good. One thing that producers are always trying to fill the gap on is antibiotic use. And whether you're a producer in Europe that, has to live without zinc and some other tools, or just a producer anywhere in the world that's cost conscious and wants to try and reduce their antibiotic expenses, were you able to see a difference in antibiotic use, or were you able to measure that, we're able to raise pigs with less antibiotics if we can add these supplements to those early wean pig diets?
Yeah, so from my study, we compare between the pigs that didn't receive anything at all, like just basal diet. And then we have the pigs that they got supplemented with glutamate and then aspartate or the combination of these two. And also the last group is just antibiotic. And after we measure everything, we measure the growth performance, we measure the diarrhea, and we also measure the immune responses, and we also measure the metabolite responses. And we found that the pigs that they received glutamate or aspartate or the combination, they showed the similar effect as the antibiotic group. So what we can see different is that the pigs that received the amino acids, they show the modulation of the immune responses and also the metabolism that is changed. Like it has been changed a lot, like during the experiment, but not a lot for the antibiotics. So the antibiotics itself, they have the function to kill the bacteria, to help resolve the complications, resolve the diarrhea, right? But glutamate and aspartate, they don't have that capacity to kill the bacteria, but they indirectly help to improve the overall health of the piglets, especially the gut health, to help boost the gut immunity, to help fight off the bacteria. So they work kind of different functions and kind of different aspects.
Yeah, absolutely. They could be synergistic working together if they needed to be.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, Jane, I think you probably got the audience pretty excited about the opportunities with these 2 amino acids, and we may call them non-essential, but it sounds like they're pretty important.
Yes.
What made you consider using those 2 amino acids? And is there anything else out there, that you think is the next level of research, the next 2 amino acids that we may want to look at because of their contribution to immune function or something similar?
For me, after I have been working with L-glutamate and L-aspartate already, it turns out that arginine is one of the amino acids that could be very essential for the immune responses as well. Yeah, and also asparagine, that, it's kind of a sister and brother to aspartate, that could be very important as well, that I want to look into it more. And yes, all of the non-essential amino acids that people like to look over them, actually they have more roles that we need to discover, that we can discover more than just being the building blocks of the proteins.
Excellent. It's tremendous information, Jane. It's great research. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing that with our audience.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, we should thank the audience. So for everybody out there listening, thank you so much for being a part of the Swine Health Black Belt. We really appreciate you listening in. If you would take one moment, please give us a 5-star rating, however you are listening to this. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever your flavor of getting podcasts is. Jane put a lot of work into her research. She gave an excellent overview of something very practical to implement to help us reduce antibiotic use, help improve healthy pig function. All we'd ask is for like 2 seconds for you to just click on the review and give us 5 stars. It'll help drive people to this content, which we think is really good and really valuable, and we want to keep making it available for you. For Dr. Jane Wongchanla, I'm Dr. Clayton Johnson, and it's been our pleasure to spend some time with you, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.